All right, Rob. The Athletic ran a poll of a unanimous poll, of course, of executives around the league about this weekend's games. And all of them unanimously, it was only 7 of them, but they picked the Chiefs and the Cowboys to advance, which I don't think is any surprise whatsoever. But I want to ask you this. Of the two teams, Chiefs and Cowboys, I know those are obviously two, favorite teams. Which one do you think is more likely to lose?
I told you before. I mean, it was a precursor, but I think it's Kansas City. I think Dallas is a different team in Dallas. I get it, Chris. They've lost in the postseason at home. They've had some issues. I just Green Bay was 9-8, right? 9-8.
Yes.
I just think Dallas is better than Green Bay. I really do.
And you don't think Kansas City's better than Miami?
Yeah, but I think Kansas City on paper might be, but I'm not so sure about on the field. And what I mean by, you know what I mean? Like on paper, you just look at what they've done.
They beat Miami.
No, I get that.
When they played.
I get that. But I just don't think would they also lose 5 of their last 7? You know what I mean? Like they're trending downward.
They went 5-5 over the last half
10?
of the season.
Yeah. They're trending down to me. That's Patrick Mahomes on a team that's 5-5. How? I mean, that's what's scary about it, is that it's so unlike anything that we've seen during the Patrick Mahomes era, and that's the scary part. I can't see the Cowboys losing at home to Jordan Love and the Packers. If they do, Mike McCarthy's fired. I believe that. I'm not even joking. I believe he would be fired.
I think there's two. I mean, and there may
They're
be
not
more,
3-point favorites, Chris, which is what you normally are as a home team.
Right.
They're 7-point favorites.
Look, they're clearly better than Green Bay. If they lose this game, it would be an upset of huge proportions. And I think it would, especially, Rob, with Bill Belichick, who, okay, maybe Jerry wouldn't work with him. I don't know. If I was Jerry, I'd look at him hard and be willing to give up some things to get him. And Mike Vrabel, too, who I think is a good coach. So you have two good coaches out there. And not to mention Dan Quinn. There's talk that, he could be in line if something happens to McCarthy. And if they lose to Green Bay at home, where they've won 16 straight,
that's
where
what
they've
I'm saying.
Averaged like over 35 points a game.
Chris, their numbers are ridiculous there.
At home, they're crazy. And Green Bay, their defense is vulnerable. The defense gives up a ton in the middle of the field, Rob, between the numbers as far as passing. And that's where Dak eats. That's where Dak and CeeDee Lamb eat. So they should go out and win this game. To me, Rob, the way for Green Bay to win, and it's going to be ironically similar for Miami in my eyes, but Green Bay has to run the ball with Aaron Jones, who has been tremendous the last 3 weeks. He's been over 100 yards each of the last 3 weeks, averaging, I think, 5, if not 6 yards a carry, or about in between that, 5.5 yards a carry in that stretch. And as well as Jordan Love's been playing, Rob, I would try to really run the ball down the Cowboys' throats. They are vulnerable against the run. So run the ball. You count on Jordan Love to make some big plays when needed.
On third down.
But run so you can eat up the clock. Eat up time of possession. Limit Dallas's possessions. Now, you have to stop Dak on a few of them, but limit the possessions. And if it's a close game, then maybe Dallas with Mike McCarthy doesn't manage the clock well, or Dak may make a mistake. So I just think that's the formula that Green Bay has to try to follow to win. But I'm with you. I think Dallas wins this. Now, where we disagree is you've got Miami beating the Chiefs. And here's the problem for Miami. You mentioned the Chiefs having, not the greatest season. I mean, yeah, relatively speaking to what they usually do. But the Dolphins, I would argue, have had a worse season than the Chiefs. Because the Dolphins have gone 1-5 against playoff teams. The Dolphins have high-scoring Dolphins, Rob, average 29 points a game. Guess what they average against playoff teams? 17. They doing all that damage against the weak sisters of the league. They're not doing that against the really top teams. And then you put the weather on top of that, where Tua, who, we know is a warm weather guy, Rob, he's 0-5 in his coldest starts, and this will probably be his coldest one. In those starts, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks. The team itself has lost 10 straight games when they play in weather that's under 40 degrees. Like, they are not a cold weather team, understandably, but they're not. And their run, again, I think they have to try to run the ball, but they're kind of a finesse run team, not a power run team.
This is, I guess my issue is, did Tua play in those 10 games that they played? I understand the last time they played in that.
Well,
weather.
what about the 5? Forget the 10.
But I'm just saying, like
he played.
We could look at that, and I'm telling you that I believe the reason that the Chiefs will lose will be because of the Chiefs. The Chiefs won't make the plays that need to be made. They haven't been making them consistently. I don't believe they're just going to flip a switch and this is going to be playoff mode activated. I just don't.
I agree.
I think it'll be about the.
I don't think it'll be about the Chiefs. Good.
No, but I just think it'll be about the Chiefs.
I think it's possible. I'm not taking it outside of the realm of possibility. But to me, there's very little reason to believe Miami's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm saying because the Chiefs are inconsistent. Because the Chiefs have had a disappointing season, and this would cap their season of inconsistencies and sloppy play and turnovers and drop balls. Like that's what I'm looking at, Chris. Excuse me. Is it a force it? Is it they're just going to turn it off? Like, okay, it's the playoffs.
But what about Miami? I mean, Miami's got to beat them. What is it about Miami that you think they'll be able to do to beat the Chiefs? Tyreek Hill has been kept under wraps against the top teams.
Yeah, but I
they know how to guard him as well as anybody.
But I also think just like people didn't think that Lamar could ever win a playoff game after he lost his first 2 or 3.
I mean,
I'm just saying. But
they just said he can never win a playoff game.
Well, people were like, "Oh, well, but he's 0-3 or whatever," and 0-2 or whatever, and he won.
He was 0-2.
And at some point, you're going to break through, and it's going to be. But I'm giving you the reasons. Miami plays a regular game, but it's going to be like drop balls, turnovers. You remember when
Tyreek's dropped a lot of passes too.
But you remember when they lost, what was that game where they gave up 2 defensive touchdowns, Chris, in 7 seconds? Like, they've had the Chiefs. Remember Mahomes had a fumble and then a pick six?
That was
7 seconds.
That Indy?
No.
I think it was
who they
Raiders.
The Raiders. You remember that?
Right,
the Raiders beat them, Chris, where they didn't even complete a pass for the last 3 quarters of the game. What?
So you think they just go I hear you. Look, I mean,
that game was in Kansas City.
I wouldn't mind them losing. I just don't see them losing
to Miami.
This game to Miami, because I just don't. Miami has struggled when they've played the good teams. Now, granted, Kansas City only beat them by a touchdown, but Miami has not been able to score big points against the top teams. And their defense, Rob, they're injured. Their top 3 edge rushers, led, of course, by Bradley Chubb, are out. Xavier Howard is out. I just think that defense is banged up. The defense wasn't awesome to begin with, but it's banged up. So are they going to be able to put pressure on Mahomes? Mahomes has struggled this year against pressure. Will they be able to put pressure on him, though? So I wouldn't mind you being right, because for my day job, first things first, it would be kind of fun. Nick Wright being from Kansas City.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But as much as I love Mahomes, that would be a fun show. But I don't want to, like I said, I'm giving them a slim chance. But I don't think I don't think there's much reason to pick them.
No, but I
in
just
this
get
game.
the Raiders beat them in Kansas City, Chris, where the quarterback didn't even complete a pass. I'm just saying, that kind of play you would have never seen. There's no way a quarterback could beat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City where he doesn't complete a pass for 3 quarters. I mean, like that's why I'm saying it's going to be Kansas City. You know, sometimes you'd say, Chris, did Miami win or did Kansas City lose? Kansas City's going to lose is my reason for picking Miami.